Wilton School District, Monday, April 10th, 5 p.m. Budget hearing in the Junior Senior High Media Center. Joy, call to order. Roll call, please.
Linda Duncan.
Here.
Tony Hurd. Gary Maurer.
Here.
Rob Metzger.
Here.
And Tara Hoyne.
Alrighty, thank you, Joy. Stacy?
Number 2 on your list is the budget hearing presentation for 17-18. And the second slide shows our taxation control chart. What's board control, what's voter controlled, and what's state controlled. So you can see that board controlled a very small portion of our budget. Many things make up that small portion, but yet a small portion. So if you have any questions or comments, stop me as I go through here. But there you can see what our total property tax asking of $3,723,329 for $14.84 per thousand. The next slide is the taxes by fund. So you can see that our taxes only go to our general fund, management fund, physical plant and equipment levy, and debt service. And the next slide is just a comparison of property taxes requested for the current fiscal year 17 to next year, fiscal year 18. So going up from about 3.6 million to 3.7, a little over 3.7. The next slide, expenditures by fund, and this is what we're certifying on our, actually we certify by function, but by each fund, and so this is every fund for expenditures, not just funds that have taxes. The next slide is our expenditures by function, and so when I go to look if I have to amend the budget or not, you look by function across all funds. So you can see instruction obviously is our largest function at 53%, and then have those all broken down there for you. The next slide, a little chart showing our revenue. So you can see that we get very little from federal sources. The majority comes from state sources, which include our local property taxes, income surtax, tuition, sharing agreements with other districts, things like that. And no, sorry, those would be local, the sharing. The state sources would be the property taxes and the income surtax, basically, and then our state aid. And then the local would be the tuition and the sharing agreements with other. Then our valuation trend. So for fiscal year 18, we are up 2.35% over the current year. There's a little chart there, so you can see that trend starts back in 1989. And the next chart is the actual tax rate. So going from $14.86, almost 87, to $14.84, almost 85. So we're down about 2 cents. And then the chart for the levy going back to 1989. You can see where we dipped way down before we had the GO bonds there. And then in summary for our 17-18 tax levy, the main factors that has affected the levy are a taxable valuation increase of 2.35, assist in keeping the levy lower with everything else staying the same, which that never happens. Everything else does not stay the same. But less taxes equal a levy decrease with a valuation increase. We have no cash reserve, so that keeps our levy down because cash reserve is 100% property tax. Our ISP, Instructional Support Program tax levy decreased with the income surtax rate increasing by 2%. So by decreasing the ISP, that keeps our rate down. And our management fund tax levy decreased because we have a decent balance in the management fund. And then things that offset our decrease were more taxes in these areas, and our enrollment increase, which triggers increased funding, which causes us to have to request more taxes. And then our debt service levy, and we increased that by the $205,000 for surplus to pay off bonds early, which that $205,000 is going to save us $96,000 in interest. So Any questions or comments? And then during our regular meeting, we'll have the request for approval of the budget, and I will get that sent in to the county auditor this week.
Very good. Excellent presentation, Stacy.
Yes, thank you as always. And unless there's any
Any comments?
questions,
From the
comments,
public?
concerns?
Noah?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we can move right on in. Welcome everyone to the Wilton Community School District Board Meeting, Monday, April 10th. The mission of the Wilton Community School District is to provide an education that encourages continual progress through the improvement of one's abilities, the expansion of one's interests and knowledge, and the growth of one's character. Call to order, roll call, please. Joy?
Linda Duncan,
Here.
Tony Hurd, Gary Mauer.
Here.
Rob Metzger.
Here.
Tara White.
Thank you, Joy. Agenda approval. Any changes, corrections, or additions, Mr. Burnett?
No, I just wanted to point out that on the administrative reports and even with the business financial functions, we will go through those rather quickly tonight. So if there's any
Right.
questions, it'll be more just a Q&A
Okay.
side. Since we need to be down City Hall by 6. So otherwise, nothing to add or subtract.
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. We'll do the minutes approval, March 13th special meeting. Oh, wait,
March 10th.
March 10th. I read 13, but it says 10 here.
All right. Move to approve the minutes from the special meeting on March 10th.
Second.
All those in favor?
Should be March.
Oh,
Okay.
Should March 13th?
Well,
Well,
here it says the 10th.
Yeah, it's the 10th on the.
Here it says 13th.
Minutes.
On the minutes.
the
Actual
Yeah,
minutes.
it's
I'm
the
sorry.
10th on there.
So is it the 13th?
Okay, should be the 13th.
All right.
Well,
I'll change that.
approve with that clarification, so it was the 13th.
It's weird how it's correct here.
And I already had my second.
Yeah,
All
second.
those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, the next one is the regular board meeting, March 13th.
Mhm.
Move to approve the March 13th regular board meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Lastly, the March 27th special meeting.
Move to approve the March 27th special meeting.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, no correspondence, but under public forum, we have latchkey.
Yes, Ann is
Yay.
here, and Lori Peterson came too, just to talk a little bit about some of the changes. Main thing is just our rates. Our rates hadn't been adjusted for quite some time. So, as in the past, we only talk about what's changing, but otherwise, things are going really well with latchkey. So Ann and Lori, if you want to just go over what the changes are and the,
And is it on the, probably the
well,
last page?
The things that are highlighted in here, they're really not changes. I kept them highlighted because I want the parents to notice them, because sometimes parents do not necessarily notice always, you know, about the lunches and stuff for summer and no days that, or no school days. So those are not changes, but I just kept them highlighted. Actually, the only thing that I think we added, we changed our codes on the front page, which was the page 1. Joy helped me with that, and we kind of updated those.
Okay.
So other than that, it is, we're hoping to change our fees June 1st, and that is on page 15. So that is going to be the changes that we hope we get. And then also, I just, on page 16, we have the new days off and our prorated weeks for the year. So that is about it.
which is great.
Not
Yeah.
too much, not too much going on.
So how much of an increase are we looking at then, from last year to this coming?
If you look at,
One of the uploads, it's
I
the
thought-
last
I thought there was something that showed.
20, is it page 28?
it's
28. I got it.
26, I don't have that sheet right now.
Okay.
If you look at number 28, I asked Ann to do a survey, and she did. And so the first column is the current rates, the second column highlighted in yellow are the proposed rates that Ann has in the handbook, and then she did some comparisons to what she could for Learning Tree, YMCA, West Liberty program, and then 2 different home daycares in our area that she compared to.
And most of everybody was pretty much all the same. They were quite a bit higher than we were, but I didn't expect like what they have, but I thought maybe people have been getting off pretty good, I guess, at Latchkey.
Well, like I said, we haven't adjusted it though for,
No,
10
Joy
years.
looked it up today, and it was June 1st, 2007, so 10 years. These
Oh,
rates,
wow.
So,
So really people should.
yeah,
these
But-
rates would go into effect June 1st, 2017 for the
Okay.
summer program.
Mhm.
And, you know, our balance has been going down, and so we knew that, and that's the only thing we can use that for. So we've been talking about all year how we'd have to look at rates, and so,
Which I do have to say that our summer looks better than what last summer was. I think we're gonna probably have about 40 children this summer.
Good.
Compared to, like, I think there was at the end, it sounds like there was about 20 last year.
Oh.
So I'm hoping we can just kind of keep building up.
good.
So,
you bet.
but for summer, yeah, and even this last, maybe month or so, we've had more people, gradually coming in, so we're gonna keep looking
And
away.
once this is approved, you'll get the notice out to people pretty quick about the
Yeah, the
rate
minute you
increases.
guys,
huh?
yeah, we'll be sending these to the,
That's good.
Alrighty,
Okay, are there any other questions for Ann and Warren?
good
I
job.
think things are going well.
Alrighty, thank you. No recognition, I guess, Stacy, business financial functions.
okay, so numbers 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all of the financial reports before we get to extra payroll. Do we have any questions or comments on any of those?
Mm-mm.
Is there anything irregular to point out? Special Olympic, use of the bus will be charged with mileage and actual costs. And the negatives in the activity fund, which we'll have to, we still have to talk about the musical, but speech and industrial arts, he bought a kit, didn't he?
That's what I
So
wondered.
he'll get money
Yeah.
back for
Okay.
somebody ordered a shed,
Okay,
so they'll
That was
money
the-
back
I
for the
forgot
shed
about
once
that.
they get that built.
Money sitting there from profit for last year, so it did cushion them.
So, any questions or comments? Any of the financials?
no,
Okay, hearing none, we will move on to number 18, extra payroll. So 1 page of extra payroll expenses. Any questions or comments on any of those? This is anything that isn't already on a contract that has been submitted to me for payment. I'll present it to you guys, so I'm not paying anything that board's not aware of. And then board bills, number 19. 6 pages, so a little shorter than
Short.
normal.
yeah.
And it's general fund, 1 cent sales tax, and some management fund. And a couple of odds and ends for the project, but still not having a lot of success getting the contractors paid off. I think we've got 3, maybe 4 contractors yet to pay off, but Woodruff didn't get the cafeteria filling payment, so that's not getting paid off. O'Shea and Revo still can't agreed to sign off on the lien waiver, so that's not getting paid off. Geisler Brothers, we're still trying to get them to approve a change order so that they pay for their share of the crushed storm drain. That's not getting done yet.
I'm surprised.
They haven't signed off on that. So, still waiting on all those. And then if all that gets taken care of, we still have some money to put builders.
Okay.
So, I'd really like to wrap that all up before the end of this fiscal year and not carry it over, but if we have to, I did budget for that. Any questions on any of the taxation fund bills? And that does take a motion.
Move to approve the bills.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Stacy. Next is the administrative reports, which,
Mrs. Austin's the only one here. Mr. Crawford has a track meet tonight, so I guess if there's any, I don't know, Denise, you want to highlight just a couple things?
Well, I think the biggest thing is our ASCD conference.
That's
and
what I
noticed
wanted to
that
know
Ken
about.
also noted that. It really is an awesome opportunity. We took 12 people, and I think everyone came back with that and beyond. And the Google link, or the link that I've put through Drive, hopefully you can get to it, is, and it's just what we are sharing with the teachers, so that they can see who went to it, and if they want to see the handouts, or they want more specific information on any of those, they can see who went to it and a little recap to try, because, you know, we came back and presented, but unless you're, you know, it really means more if you're there, or in the summer if you have time to dig into it, or if you're having
Yes.
that specific question.
Right.
So that's our goal of sharing it with everyone, but other than that, we're pretty busy. Springtime's here. Do you have any questions?
If you think about it, as things roll out that come from this conference, we kind of go back and say, hey, this is because we went to that. Just,
Right,
I think it'd be great for both for the foundation and just
Yeah.
to connect those dots.
yeah, as we use it for
Yeah.
Mhm.
change and purpose, yeah. I'll highlight it again, that's a good idea.
What are the science club racing? Boats?
Cardboard.
Cardboard.
It's not a
Mrs.
long
Morse
race.
does a great job with that.
Yeah.
And the building, they have to go to her house to build them, so that's a lot of permission and a lot of moving parts that she coordinates that I think is a great opportunity for the kids. We appreciate.
They're getting started on their pollination gardens, you know, they presented last
I'm
month.
so excited about that.
The only one we moved is we're not gonna put one in front of the school,
Mhm.
just because from a landscaping perspective, we do something to try to keep it clean up front. But everything else is really
True.
out back.
Yeah.
So, but otherwise, I know they're excited to get started.
Good.
So we're moving that elsewhere?
Mhm.
Okay.
They'll still have 5.
Yeah, okay, good, it's just somewhere else, okay.
Yep.
And she and Mrs. Sheet are instrumental in putting together that pie, Wilton History Day, which is another big deal that we'll have before the next
It's usually
board
the first
meeting.
week of May, right?
Yeah, May 1st, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of moving parts with that too, and that, it just takes a lot of extra work in addition to their teaching duties, but it's great for the kids, and we appreciate that.
Cool, all right, thank you, unless there's any questions, we'll move on, thank you, Mrs. Austin.
Or any highlights,
Just
or even
junior high, we can, I've read.
Prom's
them,
coming up.
and athletics,
Yeah, the locker rooms are coming together downstairs. I gave a tour this weekend to some of the alumni that were back and took them through the locker rooms and whatnot, so we're gaining.
Did you have the school open again?
Yeah.
Did you?
Yep. Yeah, did a tour at 4 o'clock.
good attendance, a lot of people.
Not really,
Yeah.
there was about 14 people here, but,
If they've never been,
Never
and
been,
they came back for them.
you know,
Right.
Good,
I think more people, and I could be wrong, they have bigger class get-togethers at Founder's Day. And so we do get calls and Joy's
Correct.
giving tours and whatnot. Seems like we get more
Correct.
class tours during the Founder's Day.
Especially the 50-year class, that's the one that usually,
likes to,
Yeah.
which is true.
So, but because we still have the new school, not everybody could be here last year, it was,
Yes,
I was glad to do it.
yes,
All right.
yeah,
So,
good. All right. Moving on, shall we do consent agenda number 1?
yes, we will. Have a couple resignations. One being Mrs. Keener, or Miss Keener, Kay. Her junior high science and her other activities there. She was obviously very involved. She took a different teaching job. You can see in her letter of resignation. She's going to DeWitt, I don't know if she mentions that.
Mhm.
I think
Yep.
she does.
Eighth grade science.
And also Amber Salmons, her family moved to Nebraska, so she did a really good job with our football and basketball cheerleading, so she'll be missed. Under the job descriptions, reviewed the Latchkey Director's job description with Ann this month and also Stacy, just to go over anything, if anything needs to be updated. So that's the job descriptions for the Latchkey Director. And that is it under consent agenda number 1.
Motion to approve consent agenda number 1.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda number 2, policy.
I have nothing really to add or make comments on. The only one, and I don't know if we change this, okay, but if you look at the last one, the negotiations,
Oh.
number 222, we don't do this, but yet I don't know what the board would like to do. It basically just says the board shall select a chief spokesperson. Well, the authority, and this, I'm reading it verbatim right off the top line, represent the board in the plaintiff collective bargaining.
Well,
You know, obviously let's use an IBB, obviously we include the entire board.
and we don't do collective bargaining
No,
anymore.
we don't have a chief spokesperson.
No.
We should have changed the
Probably
sentence that reflects IBB, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So would you like me to make some tweaks to bring
Yeah, let's pull
Yes.
that.
back to the board next month?
Yes.
Okay, that was the only one that
Yes.
I looked at that really wasn't reflective of current
Right.
practice.
I don't know how to reference IBB specifically, but just have it broad enough that regardless of approach.
Exactly.
I don't see us going away from it, but who knows what it'll be called in 3 years or 5 years, so.
Correct.
I will craft something and I'll send that to you prior to the board meeting so you can help me wordsmith it and then we'll run it through if that's okay.
Okay.
That'd be all right?
Yep.
So I'd recommend we approve consent agenda number 2, excluding or tabling 222, however you want to phrase that.
Okay, I'll move that. We approve consent agenda number 2, except for 222, which we'll table for future discussion.
Second?
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Consent agenda number 3.
Yeah, pretty healthy consent agenda number 3 tonight. The first one's fiscal year 2018 district budget as presented earlier. Any questions on that?
Actually, I have that updated from when we did the presentation for, proposed for publication. I numbered the pages, Tony. And if you go to page
That'll get you kicked out of a mayoral race. you know.
number,
Yeah.
page number 9 and number 14, it actually has all the proposed tax rates updated. Everyone finally got those in as late as last week. So if you want to see where we compare to our conference schools, and then, which keep in mind, the budget enrollment for Cascade Western Dubuque, they give us, they Cascade is part of Western Dubuque, so you get the whole thing there. So that's the only thing that is updated from what I presented before publication. That might be of interest.
Okay, thank you.
What font is that used for page numbers?
That's what he's
Because
asking.
these come from all over my computer.
I'm just glad your page numbering, Brad, is directed that direction.
And they look good, I have to say.
I didn't even have Joy do it. Normally I would ask Joy to do it.
Well, I'm very impressed.
Any other questions under letter A for the district
Or
budget?
comments.
Letter B is the latchkey handbook as presented earlier.
And here's where the price
Yep.
is better, easier to compare.
By approving the handbook, we'll approve the fee increases.
Correct.
But we're gonna note that in the motion so that it'll be easy to find the next time we want to.
Correct.
The increase.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
Letter C is a juvenile court liaison estimated budget for fiscal year 18. Stacy can ask or answer any questions on that. We share that position with the county. That is page 30, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So Everest Funds picked up our half, and Juvenile Court Services picked up the other half through DHS,
Good deal.
at least for now.
Yeah.
I know that may change.
I know.
So any questions on that? Letter D is our second reading of policy 211.2, our regular meetings, which we tweaked
Mhm.
a couple months ago, but we had to do the 2 readings.
Mhm.
Basically just saying we shall meet. Meetings shall begin at a time and location as determined at the annual organizational meeting. And we struck a couple of sentences, but it reflects current practice. Letter E is the first reading of policy 103, E1, notice of non-discrimination. We had in the past, the state would come out and do site visits every 5 years.
Correct.
Now they do what they do they call them desktop audits.
Okay.
And we only had, which, it's very good, they only found 2 things that needed to be changed in our district. One of them was we had to add social economic status to our non-discriminatory statement. So that was one. And the other one, we just had to review our numbers and trying to create gender equity in the industrial arts classes, family consumer science classes, etc.
Huh.
So,
Hey.
all things considered,
Yeah.
for a district our size, if we had to add one phrase to a policy and just continue to look at our numbers, for gender equity,
That's good.
I'm very pleased with that. So that's what letter E is, adding that on there. You can see the social economic in bold. Letter F is our insurance rate proposal for 17-18. Stacy can talk about that.
The medical and vision rates are staying the same, thus the 0% increases, so basically we're approving the 10% dental rate increase, and remember, for this year, we increased our out-of-pocket max per covered person, not just per employee,
Mhm.
from $1,000 a year to $1,500 a year, and that is getting utilized. So by just doing a 10% increase, my estimate with where we are currently with enrollment would generate an additional $10,000 for next year. Hopefully that will be enough. It may not, but we'll find out, and that's my proposal for the dental rate for next year. So.
Any other questions on the insurance side? Goes into the next one with our amendment, the 2080 agreement with Iowa Star Schools. You've heard me say this before, but it's really worked out well being in this group as far as keeping our insurance rates fairly steady, minimal increases. But they're asking that the agreement be amended, and Stacy can go more in detail on this. But from what I gather in my conversations, it's because we've got some new schools that are joining. But there is some talk amongst the state of maybe going to a statewide pool.
Oh.
And if the state mandates that, there's a buy-in period, and then districts would be refunded of that buy-in period. But districts that are just joining now, if there was the state mandated it in October, they shouldn't get the same refund, if you will, from districts that have been in it for a number of years.
Oh.
So that's what this amendment pertains to. Stacy, is there anything?
Right, and our group has about $4 million in equity right now, because they do a self-funded thing, just like we do in-house. They do it at a larger scale for our group, so there's like $4 million that's at stake there, and the newer joining schools shouldn't get the same kind of that we get being in it since inception, so.
Correct.
That's basically what the amendment deals with, and hopefully that doesn't happen, but.
So, but there's talk of that.
Covered, right, because it's due to that, so just to cover everything in case that were to happen.
Good.
Letter H is the elementary art budget, and typically each year, we have purchases for departments. And this is the year that the art department is up. So, pretty minimal.
She does have some equipment she wants to, but we're gonna take that from Kepler once it's sales tax, so in the general fund.
Give you another example of equipment that we pay for out of Pepple or Save. We're getting a new planer for the shop, out there. So even though you may not see that in their budgets per se, some of the bigger equipment item pieces, we pay for out of our other funding, which saves our instructional support levy. And then letter I is our cooperative agreement with UNI for student teachers. Just got that in the mail today, so I had Joy throw that on.
Good.
So that's it on consent agenda number 3. Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Move to approve consent agenda number 3.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Maintenance bids.
Yeah, we have one tonight, looking at summer projects. We're proposing we add a 20-foot strip. Be on the east side of the elementary playground, where there is no concrete right now. In the morning, and also at recess, when the kids come out down here by the auditorium and they head north, okay, when it's muddy, we have them walk on the road, our drive back there.
Oh, yeah.
And we have sidewalk that runs south to north on the elementary playground. And then we've got a gate, but it's just grass between there and, the basketball courts. And so it would make sense. I don't want kids, even though we don't have traffic out there, but in the morning we do. We have buses that are coming down that lane heading south. We want to get the kids off of the road and have them on the west side of the fence. And so we thought we'd make it big enough too, because in the wintertime, not necessarily in the winter, when it's spring and it's mud, and it's always going to be hard to get grass to grow in that area. They got a little bit more of an area too to play foursquare or just run around. So that'll serve 2 purposes with that. But we got 2 bids locally from Eller and also from Hoekstra Masonry. And you can see the amounts there. Eller's was $17,554 and Hoekstra's was $13,445. And so it's my recommendation to go with the Hoekstra bid for that sidewalk.
Move to approve the bid from Hoekstra Masonry.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, informational discussion committee items.
I'll tell you what, it's been I give kudos to Mrs. Austin, Mr. Crawford, and also the staff members that have been involved in the hiring process. We take after it aggressively in the spring because there definitely is a competition, if you will, to get the best people. And so we try to get on that early, and they've done a good job of that. So you can see, getting some of these spots filled. I recommend, we offered a contract to Nate Kroger for the junior high language arts. The reason the salary is to be determined is because we haven't finished our IBB process yet. So, but that's where they'll be in the salary schedule. Grace Bentley for junior high science. Dan DeRocher for assistant girls track. We've got over our line, I guess we have to have a target to say, hey, when we get an assistant or whatnot, it's over 20 students. And we have that both in the 7th and 8th grade. We're the boys and the girls. We have the girls side and boys side, so we've got 2 coaches for each. And then you see the 2 bus routes that we have vacant. We had Terry and Bonnie Wingate apply, and they've been driving for Davenport for a number of years. And you'll see that reflected when we talk later at our exempt session. They won't come in at the base rate. They'll come in a little bit higher because of their experience. So bus driver positions are very difficult to fill. So I'm very pleased that we have 2 qualified people to take those positions. But otherwise, as of today, we've got everything filled going into next year. Everything. Now, it's only April 10th. Some people, can certainly take a job between now and and whatnot, but I feel really thankful that everyone's been aggressive in getting these positions filled, and we've got some top-notch people coming in. So that's where we're at with the hirings. Maintenance, we had a maintenance committee meeting between now and our last board meeting, and met with Bruce Jipp to look out to do something with the big hill of dirt, and that will take place after the season. I know it would be nice to have it done before, but if they get that all spread out and try to get it seeded, it'd kind of be muddy this summer, and so we'd rather wait, start right after baseball season's over, get everything taken care of, get it seeded, and have it ready to go for 2018. Rather have it done right. On all the projects we've done here, it's always been a year later than we've wanted, but I think we've gotten a better product out of it. So, and I think that'll be the same with that out there too. And we also talked about our retention ponds and just making sure everything's where we want it out there. So we also met with Don Drake, talked a little about some ideas with the concession stand, and if there's anything you want to add for any decking, and decide with the liabilities of everything. We'll just stay where we're at. So put that to rest for the time being. But otherwise, you can see with the sidewalk project and different things coming up this summer, there's a lot of small projects, everything from the pebbles in front of the preschool, you know, to have that filled in. There's a lot of little things to continue to improve, and we look forward to getting on that.
Are they coming with the softballs they got?
They were out there working today.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, yeah. So, I'm not saying it's a blessing in disguise, but I know the softball coaches and also the alumni, we're hoping to upgrade the dugouts a little bit, kind of reflect what the boys have, and with the one blowing over happened to be the home dugout.
Hey, what
Yeah,
good time.
We've got the insurance money to go toward what they wanted in the first place, so. As far as I know, the wind took it. I have no other data to prove otherwise. Although Don and Roger were unaccounted for on the night of the storm. So, but otherwise, yep, they're busy working on that too. So baseball and softball practice start here in about 3 weeks. School gets out 6 weeks from Wednesday. So, and if you can make a note, please, Brandy, the last day of school falls on a Wednesday. Typically on Wednesdays, we have an hour late start due to professional development. And this actually happened last year too, but we'll start our normal time on the last day of school because we get out at 11. I know as much as some students, not Noah, would enjoy coming to school at 9:10 and 9:15 and then getting out at 11.
No.
We're going to go the normal time that day on Wednesday. So, I don't know if there's anything pool board related, anything?
We have our meeting, of course, Wednesday.
Yep, I know it's always a little bit late.
Yep.
Legislatively, still a lot of talk at Des Moines as far as trying to extend the 1 cent sales tax, also look at the operational sharing. There is a 5-year sunset on that.
Oh.
So there's talk of that, and also some flexibility amongst the saved dollars too, but it's hard. It'll be interesting to see how that comes about. I attended the legislative forum here a few weeks ago, and there was a big crowd. Unfortunately, it wasn't a lot of Wilton people, but a lot of people that follow on the legislative forums to ask questions. So, nothing under the goodwill. We're going to have our retirement celebration, I guess. Typically, we recognize years of service and the retirees the last day of school in the auditorium right afterward, usually before lunch. But because several of our retirees, Sam and Anna and Sharon, I'm trying to think, we don't have any teacher retirees. Dennis. And that's a busy day for them, last day of school.
Yeah.
We're actually going to do it the next day when we have teacher in service in the cafeteria. That way,
They
they've got route drivers, we want to recognize them. So that's going to happen the next day. I know it's minor in the big picture things, but just an FYI.
No, it's important.
Otherwise, I have nothing under miscellaneous. Our SIAC meeting is going to be at 6 p.m. on the 26th. And typically we have a work session before. So we'll still plan on that. We'll communicate as that gets closer. Some of that will depend, as you can imagine, on our negotiations. Where we're at. We're meeting next Monday with them at 5 o'clock. So we'll see how that goes. May end up having a special meeting, on the 26th too, to approve the contract. But otherwise, Monday, May 8th, 5:30 p.m. But that's all I have. You bet.
All right.
Got prom in the next couple weeks, if any of you are interested in chaperoning
Ken would like
Or
to-
volunteering. for
or
the
volunteering.
Oh.
That's right.
Move to adjourn.
No further discussion.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Opposed, motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
You bet.
All righty, we are moving on.
You know what? It was fast, but it wasn't abnormally crazy fast.
No.
When you get your building
Well, pretty
project
simple.
stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the Ken
Miss Linda, you wanna sign these right away?
Yes, I do.
You know what? The Snavely's, I think, there's a good chance they're gonna purchase Ken's home.
Oh, really?
Really?
I said, well, that way the kids will know which house to take right away.
I saw them there when after, I thought, they're considering it.
There won't be a lag.